Okay, so I'm going to show you how two of the circles are going to be worked into your basket. This is just a flat round so that you, or a flat row, so that I can show it to you a little bit easier, the front and back side rather than the basket. But I have the basket here to show you kind of the inside of it and other stuff. So we'll do both so you can see how it goes. But what we're going to do is kind of begin the row where the circles begin, and you'll see that it's a chain 3 and then 2 double crochets, but in the second double crochet is when we're going to change our color. So we're going to work up until the very first yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and just like whenever we change color with a double crochet, we leave those last 2 loops on our hook, and then we grab our new color, in this case the purple, or whatever color you're using, lay it over your hook, and then we're going to pull through. So in my basket, I kept the purple attached the entire time, and I ran the strands behind and along the basket rather than cutting them and weaving them in for every single circle. I'm going to explain to you how you can do either or, but if you leave it attached, then you only have a couple of ends to weave in at the end, so that's one of the pros, but I'll show you what the con of it is when I finish showing you the circles. So first we're going to start our first circle. So to do that, we're just going to do a double crochet, but instead of working it into our next stitch, we're going to work it into the post below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the post. So if you see this post here, we have 3, we have 1, 2, 3, and we made 3 up top. So we have 1, 2, 3, we're working around the 4th or the one after. So if you look straight down, you'll see a hole, and we're going to put our hook through that hole. So push your hook through that hole and then pop out the other side of the post. Once you do this first one, it's a little easier to turn your work, just like as if you were working on a row going this way. So turn your work, yarn over, pull up a loop, just like a regular double crochet. We're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 and pull through the second 2. Don't worry about this getting pulled out, just yank on it to pull it closer. That's just that tail that we just joined. If you like the double knot, go ahead and double knot it. Then again, we're going to do another double crochet. We're actually going to do 7 more around this entire post. So you can see it's pulling up from that first double crochet. So I'll put my finger here since the white is hard to see on white. So I'm going to put my hook through that hole and do another double crochet and another one and a whole bunch more. So we're just working around this entire post. As I work, I try to keep all of the stitches separate rather than like laying on top of each other. So if I'm bringing my tails, I don't want them to lay on top of the previous stitch. I want them next to the previous stitch so that they all lay on their own piece of post. And once I get to 8, let me get some slack here. See how many I have so far here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you'll see that the pattern says we're working on the next and previous post. So this was our next. Now we need to go to the previous. So it tells us to turn our work 180 degrees. So we just flip it halfway. Now we're looking at those 3 posts that I counted earlier. We're going to work around that previous one, so that third one from the beginning, or the one that we just made that last white double crochet into. So the same thing, we're going to yarn over, and then we're going to go into the hole from front to back. So out through the front and out the next side, and do 8 more double crochets. So again, turn your work so that's on top so it's easier to see. You can see it's pulling up nice and easy. So we're going to do another 7. But on the very last one, we're going to pause and change back to our white. So if the white, you don't have to fasten off as you work because it's going to be joined in right away, but the purple you can. So I'm going to show you what happens if you don't fasten off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so now before I finish this 8th one, I'm going to go to the first 2 steps, and now I want to change my color back to white again. So this is going to form a full circle once we get the white pulled in, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the purple over the area of, or just over the top, basically, is what we're going to do, okay? Then I'm going to grab the white and bring it up. Just lay the purple in the back, don't worry about where it's at, and I'm going to pull the white through the last 2 loops to change my color. Make sure that purple's still laying over the back for this next stitch. So this stitch is the hardest to do. This is the DC behind the stitch you just made. So we have that previous double crochet right here, the white one, that very last one we did, and then we need to do one in the stitch that all of these purple double crochets are made around. And you can see that the actual stitch is pretty much covered up except for the V on top and that little piece of yarn that you see right there. But that little hole right there is what we need to go through. If we don't, we're going to lose stitches. So we have to do a stitch right in this one. So look for the purple or whatever color you're using, go up to the top and do your double crochet in there. Now you've secured your purple to the back through between the 2 stitches, and you can go ahead and do the next 5 double crochets. So let me get those and then I'll show you how to bring the purple back in. So you can either now cut your purple if you don't want 5, 6. So this is where I'm going to join my purple back in. So on my basket, I take the purple, so my tail that's working, I run it across and I join it in. So I don't pull super tight because I want it to lay with enough slack that it's not pulling my basket out of shape. So if I pull real tight, it's going to flip my basket in half here. So I keep it just taut enough so that it's hanging out right along the top of my stitches. Pull this out because it still wants to be tight. So if you don't mind that, I'm going to show you how you can cover it. You can go ahead and do that, or cut off the purple, take your 2 ends, and you're going to kind of take your yarn needle and go back through the white and then weave it inside of the purple circle. So you can either have it not show at all and weave it in every single circle, which there's not as many, there's like 7 circles, so it's not super huge amount to weave in. But if you don't want to weave in anything, just run it along as you go. So again, I would start my next circle here, and I'm going to stop right there so I can show you, because I'm going to pretend like I'm coming back around with my white so you can see how to cover it up. I'm just going to do some crazy join here to get my white in here. So this is how, when I'm coming around the basket, because the purple is up so high, it's right along my stitches, I just do my double crochet, and you'll actually be working this way because everything's on the outside, but I crochet the purple into the stitch. So I reach through, the purple is in between my stitches, and it gets covered up pretty well. I'm going to show you right now what the inside of my basket looks like with this, but you can cover up most of the inside. So if you don't like that purple string showing through, you can crochet the white over it as you're going around. So when I was coming around, the purple's sitting there and I just double crocheted over it. So you can see that the con of it is that you can see some of it peeking through. It's not super noticeable, you know, if it's just sitting there, you may not even pay attention to it, but when you look inside, you can see it a little bit more clearly because you can see like little spots where I've had to pull it through and weave it through, but it's not super noticeable when it's sitting there. Probably you may not even notice it when you saw the picture, but that's totally up to you. I did it this way so you could see what it looks like if you want to skip all that weaving in, but if you don't mind the weaving, just cut it and then weave it into the purple. But that's how you're going to do the circle. If you have any questions, leave them below. But that is it. Thanks for watching.